Hello everyone and welcome to a new video, and in this video we are going to feature the match highlight of the first match of the Women's T20 World Cup 2023, the opener of the tournament, and the match is played between Team South Africa Women's and Team Sri Lanka Women's. And the update about the toss is that Team South Africa Women's have won the toss and they have elected to field first. And now let's have a look at the playing 11 of both the teams. First we have Team South Africa Women's team in this the first match of the Women's World Cup. Then we have Laura Woodall, Tasmanian Brits, Marizana Cap, Sunil Lewis, the captain of the team, Chloe Tyron, Annika Bosch, Nadine and Clark, Sinola Zafta, Shabnim Ismail, Abiyonga Khaka, and Nokundiyalu Malaba in their playing 11. And if we have a look at the playing 11 team Sri Lanka women's team, then we have Harshita Sharma Vikrama, Samaria Tarapattu, the captain of the team, Vishmi Gunaratne, Anushka Sanjeevani, Nilakshi Tisilva, Kavisha Delari, Oshida Rana Singhe, Ama Kanjana, Sugandhika Kumari, Inoka Ranavira, and Ashini Kulasurya in their playing 11. And so here's the first boundary of the T20 World Cup 2023, the Women's T20 World Cup. That's the first boundary. A length ball outside of an angling away, and Adrabhattu slashed it through the extra cover for the first boundary, scooped for 4. A length ball on the stump, and Harshita goes down on one knee and help it over the keeper's head for another boundary. Full and down the leg side, and Adrabhattu goes down on one knee and slogs it over the backward square leg for another 4. Back-to-back 4s, Malaba overcompensated and ball it too short on the leg stem, as well as pulled over the square leg for another boundary. And at the end of 6 over, the score of the Sri Lanka women's team is 28 runs with the loss of no wicket in this first match. This ball has been chipped to the short mid wicket, and here comes the first wicket. Harshita struggling now comes to an end. It was on the fuller side of a good length, and Harshita looks to hit it on the up over the mid on, but she failed to middle it, and Brits moved to her right swiftly and pouch it with both hands. Harshita Sharma Vikrama caught by Brits, bowled by de Klerk on 8, and the first wicket of the Sri Lanka women's gone down at the score of 28. Length outside of an Adrabhattu goes down for the cut, gets a thick outside as that runs away for 4. A bouncer this time, and Athapattu was on the front foot but goes for the pull. She isn't in the control of it but falls just short of the deep backward square leg, who was charged in and put in the dive. The ball bounces over the boundary line for another 4. Sliced over the short extra cover, opened the bat face to this full and straight ball and lofted it confidently to the deep extra cover for another 4. Misfield by the extra fielder and Kapoor more, and that's the 50 up for the Sri Lanka women's team. Was drilled hard enough along the ground as the length was full again, but the line just around the off stump, and that is another boundary. Pulled over the square leg and 3 in a row, and that's another boundary. And this time she lap sweeps that full ball on the leg and another boundary, this time with that 4. Swung across the line to the deep mid wicket, that's another 4. Full around off as she closes the bat to launch it into the ball and grab 4 more run. Head away wide of the deep third. Sri Lanka making a very hurriedly here as Gunaratne hang deeps in the crease and cut this short ball outside off. It's another boundary. Another hat trick of 4s, short again, just outside off as Gunaratne went for the pull, playing it so late, or so it seemed, that the top edge gently took the ball over the keeper's head for another 4, and that is another boundary. And at the end of 15 over, the score of the Sri Lanka women's team is 91 runs with the loss of. At the end of 16 over, the score of the Sri Lanka women's team is now 106 runs with the loss of 1 wicket. 2 in 2, that's big wicket, and Marizana Cap caught back-to-back wickets, started the bowlers and first run out, and now the big wicket. Athapattu finds long leg, good low casual diving forward by de Klerk, who had to keep her eye on the ball all along. Cap bowled short and got good bounce while angling it into the left-hander, but the bounce got the better of Athapattu as she pulls back and got a top edge, leaving 2 new batters at the crease. Chamari Athapattu has been caught by de Klerk, bowled by Cap on 68, and another wicket has down for the Sri Lanka women's team. And at the end of 18 over, the score of the Sri Lanka women's team is now 118 runs with the loss of 3 wickets. Sensational bowling by Ismail, and fires it straight and hit the stumps. This was on a length on a middle offense. De Silva makes room to try to slash it hard over the offside, but she was beaten after perhaps playing a bit early, and the ball took the top edge and went on to hit the timber. Nilakshi De Silva has been bowled by Ismail on 4, and at the end of 19 over, the score of the Sri Lanka women's team is 124 runs with the loss of 4 wickets. And so here starts the final over of the inning, and with South Africa allowed only 1 meter less on the boundary due to the slower rate, Short ball outside of and she pulls and misses the good pace on bounce there. Another fumble by the keeper and another by Stool and slower ball on a foolish length outside off as Kanchana swings and misses. Good length on off and sweep it towards the mid-on for a single. Another swing across the line and the pinch to good length outside off and bashed wide of the long on, who was pushed back just before this ball. Half pulled it to the long leg and this ball was shorter on the middle and off. Dot ball to finish as Sri Lanka ends on 129. Sweated back to the bowler on the bounce as kept bowled short outside off with the ball climbing onto the batter, and at the end of 20 over the score of the Sri Lanka women's team is 129 run with the loss of 4 wickets in this first match of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup 2023 against Team South Africa. So the target for Team South Africa to win this first match in this T20 World Cup 2023 is 130 run in their The target for Team South Africa women's team to win this first match of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup 2023, the match against Team Sri Lanka, is 130 run in their 20 overs. A sensational knock by the captain of the Sri Lanka women's team, Chamari Atapatatu, as she scored a sensational knock as she played really well for Team South Africa, and she scored 50 balls 68 and played the captain's knock, which helps Team Sri Lanka to post a total of 129 run with a loss of 4 wickets. The target for the South Africa women's team is now 130 run in their 20 over to start the tournament with a victory.